Giveaways really were the difference there in that first half, because I thought we were doing some really good things, but then we got that takeaway, had a takeaway negated by an offside.
Dillon Gabriel was not better than Shedeur Sanders in minicamp when the rookies was there. He was not better at minicamp or training camp when the veterans was there. He did not perform better than him during the game he was in. And it's time out for people with the cap.
Kevin Stefanski has officially hit his breaking point, and it shows. He's done pretending that Dillon Gabriel is the answer. After yet another brutal game, Stefanski didn't even try to hide his frustration. He flat out admitted Gabriel's performance wasn't good enough, and even called out some of the worst decisions of the night. That's not coach speak anymore. That's a man who's lost faith in his quarterback. Those mistakes weren't just bad, they were game wreckers. Drive after drive, Gabriel made choices that sucked the life out of the team. You could feel the air leave the stadium as fans groaned and players dropped their heads. When a head coach publicly calls out his own quarterback like that, it means the locker room tension has hit a boiling point. Things aren't just shaky in Cleveland, they're about to explode. Then came the play that sealed Gabriel's fate, a disastrous pick six. Andrew Uba took it the other way for the Eagles, and that was the moment everyone watching realized this wasn't just a bad night, it was a meltdown. Stefanski's body language said it all. No headset throw, no yelling, just that blank stare of a man who knows he's out of excuses for his guy. And meanwhile, the elephant in the room, Shedeur Sanders. Watching from the sidelines, the contrast was impossible to ignore. Gabriel had no touchdowns, no rhythm, and no spark. Even with the first-team defense backing him up, he couldn't move the ball to save his life. Every failed drive just made fans chant louder for Shedeur, but instead of humility, Gabriel doubled down. After the loss, he reportedly took a swipe at Sanders, calling him an entertainer, not a competitor. Seriously? That's wild. Coming from a guy who just tanked the game, it sounded less like confidence and more like insecurity. That kind of ego, after that kind of performance, makes you wonder if Gabriel even understands what leadership means anymore. George Bush didn't hold back. He went straight for the jugular. He slammed Dillon Gabriel's comments, calling them unnecessary, reckless, and flat-out embarrassing. For a guy hyped up as having Skynet-level processing, the quarterback with lightning reflexes and ice-cold focus, Gabriel sure didn't act like it. Instead of proving he could dominate on the field, he took cheap shots at Shedeur Sanders, and that move lit up social media like wildfire. You don't come for Shedeur without facing his army of loyal fans, and Gabriel just found that out the hard way.
I do view him as somebody who could position himself to be that QB2. And if he's not in that position, but he's playing well, we know that the reason that would be the case is because they don't want people clamoring for Shedeur Sanders premature.
But here's where it gets real. This whole circus didn't start with Gabriel, it started with Kevin Stefanski. From day one of training camp, he's been playing favorites, and it's impossible to ignore. Shedeur Sanders has been showing flashes of pure magic, crisp passes, sharp reads, and that spark that electrifies a locker room. Yet somehow, Stefanski refused to give him even one set of first-team reps, not one. He kept Sanders watching from the sidelines while others got endless chances to prove themselves. It's like he was determined to keep Shedeur out of the picture. And when the fans started buzzing after that first game, chanting for Sanders, hyping him up, Stefanski didn't bend. Nope, he doubled down. He got defensive and threw out one of those coach talk lines about developing everyone equally. But come on, everyone could hear the undertone. It didn't sound like development, it sounded like dismissal. Like he was trying to keep Shedeur buried on that depth chart no matter how much talent the kid showed. Then came the kicker, the new reports. Word around the team is that Stefanski has no plans to even consider Shedeur moving forward. What? After all that energy, all that hope, and the excitement he's brought to Cleveland, the coach still isn't convinced? Fans are furious.
When it comes to being a supercomputer, he was only second to Skynet in the Terminator series. He is now capable of sending Terminators backwards and forward through time, waging a war with the Shedeur Sanders fans.
And rightfully so. This isn't just about a quarterback competition anymore. It's about favoritism, pride, and maybe even fear. Because deep down, Stefanski knows once Shedeur Sanders hits that field, there's no going back. He's the guy who can actually deliver. And being sidelined like this is a brutal hit, not just to Shedeur Sanders' confidence, but to the entire Cleveland fan base that's been begging to see him take control of this offense. It's more than a coaching decision now. It's a statement. When your own head coach doesn't believe in your ability to lead, that doubt spreads like wildfire. It plants a seed in the locker room, in the media, and in every fan's mind watching from home. And if that seed grows, it could signal something bigger, the beginning of a whole new chapter for both Shedeur and the Browns. Because let's be honest, everything about this situation screams sabotage. All signs point to one ugly truth. Kevin Stefanski might be doing everything in his power to kill the hype around Shedeur Sanders. Rumors even started flying that Stefanski was the one spreading false reports about Shedeur being injured. Can you believe that? An injury no one had heard of, no trainers confirmed, and no visual evidence of?
Pleased with Shedeur, pleased with the offense. Again, not perfect, plenty that we can work on, but I thought the guys did a really nice job of Shedeur and operating, the guys making plays. So, again, a ton to teach off of.
Fans started connecting the dots, and it didn't take long for the truth to come crashing through the cracks. That's when Stephen A. Smith jumped into the fire, and he did not hold back. He went straight for Stefanski's neck, accusing him of making up the entire Shedeur Sanders is hurt storyline. Stephen A. didn't mince a single word. He said this wasn't about protecting a young player, it was about creating a cover story. A smokescreen to justify keeping Shedeur off the field without sparking a fan rebellion. Stephen A. made it clear this so-called oblique injury was fiction, a neatly packaged lie to quiet the noise and buy Stefanski some time. He even called the Browns' own depth chart the smoking gun, pointing out how conveniently Shedeur kept slipping further down the list every week. It's wild, because if Stephen A's right, this isn't just favoritism anymore, it's manipulation. And Cleveland fans, they're done staying quiet about it. To Stephen A., the picture was crystal clear. The Browns never actually planned to let Shedeur Sanders rise through the ranks. It was all smoke and mirrors. If Shedeur had been given a real shot to build off his early momentum, there's no way anyone could have justified keeping him on the bench. But right when the roster decisions started heating up, boom, out of nowhere comes the injury news. Perfect timing, right?
And that comes with going up against competition. Of course, second and third units and all of that stuff come into play. When you're the reigning defending Super Bowl champion.
It was the ideal excuse to quietly pull him out of the running without sparking a full-blown fan revolt. Everything about Kevin Stefanski's moves screamed one thing: protect Dillon Gabriel and sell him as the savior. But that plan didn't just fail, it crashed and burned. Gabriel's so-called heroic moment turned into a nightmare from the first snap. He couldn't find the end zone, couldn't create momentum, and couldn't live up to the hype, even with the first-team defense holding strong behind him. It was painful to watch. Drive after drive ended in frustration, overthrows, bad reads, and zero rhythm. The worst part? His mistakes became the only memorable part of his night. No touchdowns, no big plays, nothing to silence the critics. Fans were left shaking their heads, wondering how this guy was still being treated like the franchise's golden child. And when the cameras caught him after the game, it wasn't humility they saw, it was attitude. Gabriel walked off like a man who thought he'd done enough, when everyone else knew he'd fallen flat on his face. Even Stefanski couldn't dance around it anymore. Facing the media before the next matchup, he tried to play it cool, saying the Browns were in a good place overall. But the reporters weren't buying it. The questions came hard and fast, and Stefanski had to face the truth. Gabriel was directly responsible for 2 critical turnovers. Both came from reckless decision-making, and both completely destroyed the game's flow.
Had he shown up this weekend and balled out again, playing 45 or more snaps like he did in the first game, and putting up similar, if not better numbers, I think that would have boded very, very well for him.
You could almost see the panic in Stefanski's eyes. the hero he was banking on, had officially become the liability he couldn't hide anymore. Kevin Stefanski has finally done what no one thought he would. He's owned up to his mistake. After weeks of excuses, mixed messages, and that sketchy injury cover story, he's finally admitting that holding Shedeur Sanders back was the wrong move. That single admission changes everything. For weeks, Stefanski kept preaching development like it was some sacred word, all while pushing a narrative that even Stephen A. Smith exposed as pure smoke. But after watching Dillon Gabriel fold under pressure again and again, Stefanski had no more ground to stand on. Gabriel's collapse was a full-on disaster. Failed drives, brutal turnovers, and that look of panic that spread across the whole team. The man simply couldn't handle the moment, and everyone saw it. Meanwhile, the guy who could have turned things around, Shedeur Sanders, was still standing on the sidelines, waiting for a shot he earned. It was painful to watch, and the fans weren't shy about letting Stefanski hear it.
Two giveaways really were the difference there in that first half, because I thought we were doing some really good things, but then we got that takeaway, had a takeaway negated by an offside.
Chants, boos, social media storms, the whole nine. The pressure finally cracked him. By keeping Shedeur off the field, Stefanski didn't just stunt the kid's development. He stole the spark that could have reignited the entire team. Sanders brings energy, swagger, and composure under pressure. Everything Gabriel's been missing. The turning point came when even the die-hard Gabriel supporters had to face reality. The locker room knew it. Analysts were saying it live on air. And Stefanski, he could no longer hide from it. His grand plan to make Gabriel the next leader backfired in the ugliest way possible. Now, there's only one truth left standing. Shedeur Sanders deserves his shot. He's already shown flashes of poise, precision, and confidence that this team desperately needs. For Stefanski, this isn't just about fixing his depth chart. It's about fixing his reputation and repairing the trust he's shattered with the fan base. Now the whole city's asking the same question. What happens next? Does Stefanski finally let Sanders step into the spotlight and show the world what he can do? Or will he double down on a failed plan and risk losing Cleveland's faith for good? Because one thing's clear. Every second Shedeur stays benched is another second the Browns waste their best hope for the future. The tension in Cleveland has reached its breaking point, and everyone knows it. After weeks of drama, deflection, and disastrous play calling, the Browns front office can't keep pretending everything's fine. The fan base has turned restless, the locker room's losing patience, and all eyes are on Kevin Stefanski to make one final, defining move. The Shedeur Sanders question isn't just about potential anymore, it's about survival. Inside team circles, whispers are growing louder. Players reportedly believe that Shedeur's energy in practice is unmatched, the kind of fire that can flip an entire season. One insider even said, he's got that presence. When he walks in, people feel it. And honestly, you can't fake that kind of confidence. But instead of leaning into it, Stefanski's hesitation has only made things worse. Every game that passes without Sanders under center feels like another missed opportunity, another step closer to chaos. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel's confidence has taken a hit that might be impossible to recover from. Once praised for his calm under pressure, he now looks rattled. Jumpy in the pocket, second-guessing every read, and trying too hard to prove he's still the guy. But after his latest meltdown, even his teammates look drained, almost detached. It's like the belief that once surrounded him has evaporated overnight, and the crowd's energy? It's turned cold. Every incomplete pass is met with groans, every turnover with chants for Shedeur. The Browns situation has become a case study in how to lose control of your own narrative. Stefanski's original plan to slowly develop Sanders in the shadows has backfired spectacularly. Now it looks like fear, not strategy, is driving his decisions. Because the moment Shedeur steps on that field and delivers, everything changes. For the team, the fans, and Stefanski's job. Analysts are already predicting it. It's not if, it's when. Once Sanders gets that first start, there's no turning back. His composure, accuracy, and quiet leadership are everything Cleveland's been craving. He represents a clean slate, something fresh in a franchise tired of recycled heartbreak. And as the pressure mounts, one truth has become impossible to ignore. The Browns don't just need a quarterback, they need belief. Stefanski can either unleash Shedeur Sanders and give Cleveland the spark it's begging for, or watch the entire city turn on him for good. Because this isn't just football anymore. It's about pride, redemption, and proving that Cleveland still has a pulse. It's not even about stats anymore. It's about impact. Shedeur Sanders has become more than just a name on a depth chart. He's become a movement in Cleveland. Everywhere you look, from local sports bars to online fan groups, people are talking about one thing. When is Shedeur starting? The city's heartbeat is synced to that question, and every snap Dillon Gabriel takes feels like one too many. What's wild is how quickly things have shifted. Just a few weeks ago, Gabriel had full command of the narrative. The coaches backed him, the fans tolerated him, and the media gave him room to breathe. But after the last few performances, that goodwill evaporated in seconds. Now even former players are speaking up, calling for change. One ex-Brown reportedly said, "You can't keep preaching accountability and then ignore the guy who's actually earned it." That line hit hard, because it's the truth. Inside the building, the energy's shifting too. Teammates are quietly rallying around Shedeur. They've seen what he can do in practice. The timing, the leadership, the poise. He's not just another rookie waiting his turn. He's a difference maker, ready to flip the switch. One insider described it perfectly. When he steps into the huddle, people stand taller. That's not hype. That's leadership you can feel. And the fans, they're done waiting. Every mistake Gabriel makes is met with thunderous chants for Sanders. Every delay in giving him the ball feels like an insult to their loyalty. The crowd doesn't want promises anymore. They want proof. And Shedeur's the only one who can deliver it. Meanwhile, analysts are piling on, questioning how long Stefanski can hold off the inevitable. If he doesn't make the move soon, one commentator said, he's not just losing games, he's losing the locker room. And that's the harsh reality. This isn't about one bad quarterback performance anymore. It's about a team craving belief and a fan base desperate for hope. The writing's on the wall. Shedeur Sanders isn't just the future, he's the now. Cleveland's tired of the cautious approach. They're ready for fire, for risk, for something that finally feels alive again. The Browns have a decision to make, and the clock's ticking loud enough for everyone to hear. Because when Shedeur finally steps under center, the whole city's going to erupt. Kevin Stefanski may have finally recognized his mistake, but now comes the real test. Will he actually fix it, or just repeat it with a new excuse? That's the question echoing all across Cleveland right now. For weeks, fans watched him sideline Shedeur Sanders, hide behind vague statements, and double down on Dillon Gabriel when it was clear the plan wasn't working. And now that the truth's out in the open, Stefanski's at a crossroads. Either make it right or lose the trust of an entire city. But here's what everyone's wondering, is Stefanski really owning up to his mistake? Or is this just another carefully planned move to make himself look like the bigger man now that Gabriel's struggles can't be ignored anymore? It's one thing to admit fault when you're cornered, but it's another to actually change. Fans want action, not apologies. They want to see Shedeur Sanders given the shot he's earned, not buried behind another week of false promises. And honestly, that's where the whole thing hangs in the balance. If Stefanski finally gives Shedeur a fair chance, it could flip the entire season around and rewrite his reputation overnight. But if he sticks to the same tired pattern of development talk and safe choices, this franchise might spiral even deeper into the mess it's already in. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Is Kevin Stefanski truly ready to step up and give Shedeur Sanders the chance he deserves? Or is this all just another way to control the story and protect his own image? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're watching to see where you stand on this one. And hey, if you've been following this wild ride in Cleveland, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. We've got more shocking updates coming your way. See you on the next one.